Okay, good stuff. So a nice little fitness Pilates session planned for you this morning or this afternoon or this evening, whenever you guys are doing it on replay. All you're going to need is a cushion, okay? So it doesn't need to be a big fat cushion, literally just grab a cushion off of your sofa, and that's going to be what we're using, and your mat. And that's all we're going to need, okay? Make sure that you've got some water. I'm just going to pop you back on mute over there. Good. Okay, so how are we feeling, guys? I hope you're feeling good. Let's just take a moment to get into the zone. So coming over onto your mat. In fact, I'm going to come a little bit closer for this bit. So coming over and just bringing your feet together, your ankles together, your heels together, squeezing through the thighs. You can just bring your hands onto your hips for a second. Let's turn those toes out to the corner of the room, swing up onto our toes and lower our heels down behind us. So if you remember, this is how we find our hip width. So when we're talking about hip width, we're talking about going from underneath the bony point of our hips, hip bone itself rather than the fleshy part. Okay, so the hip bones should feel like they're in line with your knees, which are then in line with your toes. Let's just spread those toes out a little bit. So lift your toes up off your floor and spread them out, hold them up here, and then just try, if you can, to kind of lay them down one at a time. So consciously trying to lay your toes back down onto your mat. You probably feel more connection through your big toe and maybe through your little toe. Just slowly coming down, and again, just giving them a little wriggle whilst we're down on the floor, and a couple of little knee bends here, okay? So we're just trying to get into our positioning. This is our hip width stance. Rock the knees back and forth, and then we're going to tilt the pelvis side to side. So we're just going to come into some little swivels, side to side. So you're trying to rock one hip up, drop the other hip down. So bend your knees slightly as you do this, and we're just going to rock. Loosen out any little clicks that you might have going on. Good. And then from here, we're going to come into our little rotations. So again, it's just all about mobilising that pelvis, trying to get it to work a little bit independently. So coming into some circles, they don't have to be big circles at all here, okay? So just coming around, go in one direction, and then just stop and come back in the opposite direction, okay? So just getting that nice little bit of mobility going through. And then stopping again, just somewhere where you feel like you're coming back to the middle, keeping those knees and those toes in line. We're going to roll our shoulders up towards our ears and then draw them down and draw them back. And you're going to bring one hand to the front of the belly and one to the base of the spine as we come into our little tilts. So we're rocking through that really exaggerated range of movement, pushing our pelvis forwards, tilting it back, pushing it forwards and tilting it back. So it just helps having our hands either side here just to help you feel that range of movement. So continue with a couple of these. And then if you remember, if you consider those as your point A and point C, I want you guys to just stop somewhere in the middle at your point B, your neutral spine, okay? So we're not too far forwards with our hips. We're tucking under slightly, a little bit of fire in those glutes. Roll the shoulders up and back again, okay? We're just going to come into some little side bends, really small little movements here, okay? Just a couple on each side, just to help pull those shoulders down. So we'll do one more set on each side, one and one. Then you're going to roll your arms up all the way to the top and bring them out to the side if you've got space. Good, so shoulder blades are still down, and then bring them into the center and floating them back down again, pulling those shoulder blades down as you reach your neck and look up towards your ceiling. Here you can close your eyes for a second. Keep concentrating on letting those arms go heavy and feeling that lovely stretch through the front of your neck. And then I want you bringing your shoulders up towards your ears as you bring your gaze down towards the floor. So you're shrugging up. So you'll feel this through the back of your shoulders and your neck. Hold it for a moment and then come back into that first position where we pull down and tilt our chin and our nose up to the ceiling. Again, close your eyes, hold it here, a couple of nice deep breaths. 2 and 1, and then just coming back to center, okay? And roll those shoulders through. You don't have to keep the heaviness in your arms now. Okay, just want to take a couple of nice deep breaths. So if you want to feel what's going on, you can bring your hand up onto your rib cage. We're going to breathe in through the nose, and then out through the mouth as if we're blowing through a straw. Good. So as you breathe in, your rib cage should feel like it's expanding. As you blow out through that straw, you should feel it contracting back together again. And keep blowing that breath out for as long as you can, really trying to empty those lungs. Good. Again, another nice deep breath in. One more time. Breathing in. And blowing back out. Lovely. Just let your arms hang loose beside your legs here, okay? We're going to start off with a little bit of shoulder mobility. So we're going to be working kind of the chest, the shoulder, the rotator cuff to start off with. So it's quite a big movement. If you've got any shoulder issues, don't push it, okay? Just go with what feels comfortable for you. But what I want you doing first of all, we're going to concentrate on one side to start off with. So just let this arm dangle down with the palm of your hand facing the thigh, okay? So you should be able to pat your thigh like this. We're going to raise this arm all the way up, keeping that palm facing in towards our body. It's just a really slow movement, but nice and fluid. And you're going to keep going until the point where you feel like that hand needs to turn. So when you feel like it needs to turn, you're going to turn it out so that you can keep that movement as you bring the arm back. Keep turning it out. So now the palm of the hand might be facing backwards as we come all the way around until it comes all the way back down to your thigh. And now it should be facing the opposite way. So the palm is facing out, okay? Hold it here. Slightly awkward, but we're trying to get that full rotation through our shoulders. Now we're going to take it back, okay? So again, keep the palm facing out, away from your body now. Bring it back around as far as you can until you feel that that hand needs to start turning in. Feel how you can feel that rotation through your shoulder as you bring it back in and up. And then as you come down, the palm should be turned and facing into your thigh as it was at the beginning, okay? So let's try that again. It's a slow movement and everybody's going to feel like they need to turn at slightly different points, okay? So keep that palm facing in as you come up overhead. Everybody should be able to get to this stage. Depending on when you need to turn as you come back, if you want to just bring the opposite hand up onto the shoulder to feel what's going on, then you can for a second. Turn and rotate, bring it all the way down. The palm is facing outside your thigh now. Lovely. Okay, we're going backwards again. So bring it back out. Think about rotating through that shoulder. Oh, slightly harder on the way back, right? Slightly more awkward. Coming up and down. We've got one more go on this side, okay? So bringing it up, palm facing in. Nice smooth movement, trying to get rid of any little knots. Rotate it when you need to. Keep those hips facing forwards and coming all the way around, or as much as you can. Coming down, palm of the hand is facing out, and then backwards. Last one on this side. So keep the other arm just angled down by your side. See when you feel that you need to turn and rotate, and then slowly bring it back down, all the way down to your thigh. Good. How's that feeling? Does this arm feel like it's slightly longer now? Look, I can see my reflection. I can tell that this arm is already much longer. We've really loosened it up all through here. This shoulder is sitting much lower down. It's not bunched up towards my ear now. Okay, so we're going to do the same on the opposite side. So let's see if we can rebalance ourselves. So bringing the palm of your hand into your thigh, and let's bring it up. And like I said, this is a big movement. It's really getting a full range of motion through our shoulders. So rotate when you need to. Come back around, turn that palm so it's facing away from you as you bring it in. And then the slightly awkward one as you come back. I feel certainly that I need to turn much sooner here as I come in. I'm keeping the core connected as I keep my hips facing forwards. My palm is now facing in towards my body as I come back down. Good, that first one is always where we feel it the most, so let's go again. Really working through our shoulders here, and also through the front. When you get to this stage, you might feel it through the front of your chest there. It's a lovely, lovely stretch, a lovely mobility one, especially for you new mums who are spending a lot of your time scooped over, right? Stooped, whether you're feeding or you're carrying or you're lifting, we're constantly just in this awkward position like this. This is just a chance to open everything up. Okay, one more time on this side, palm facing in. Lift the hand, should be still able to wriggle those toes, and make sure you're not clenching onto your mat and gripping all the way around. Lovely. Palm facing outwards. Let's just hold it here for a second. Make sure those hips are staying facing forwards before we roll it back behind, overhead. Feel that point where you feel like that full shoulder is rotating. We're up in, and then we're slowly lowering back down. And those arms about even now, hopefully they are about the same length, and your shoulders should feel like they're really pulled down. So when we started, you might have been a little bit up here, a little tenser. Now those arms should feel nice and long. Good, we've just come into a couple of little wrist rolls here. Lovely movement, that one. Okay, good stuff. So this is the position I want you in, okay? Shoulders drawn down in your neutral spine, connection through the core, and just soft through the knees. Remember to keep wriggling those toes if you need to. Remind yourself not to grip onto your mat. Okay, good. We're going to grab hold of your cushion. So we're using our cushion really just as a bit of a focus tool here, okay? Obviously it's not heavy, we're not trying to weight the movements, we're just using it as something for our arms and our eyes to focus on, okay? So the first one we're going to come into is a little bit like a Russian twist. So we're just going to extend our cushion out at chest height, and we're going to rotate around. So I'm lifting my opposite heel as I rotate around. So keep those shoulders nice and relaxed like we've just got them. And we're just lifting the heel, rotating around. So everyone should be able to fully extend their arms here. It's not like when we're holding a weight and we have to perhaps sometimes bring our elbows into our torso to make it slightly easier. Here I'm just trying to get a little bit of movement through the full upper range of your body as we twist and we twist. We're going to do one more each side, lifting the heel, lift and lift. Come back to center. We're going to do the same again, but this time your feet are going to stay firmly planted on the floor. So just make sure they're back into your hip width position. We're going to twist around as far as you can without moving those legs, okay? Good, so you might feel this one now, more coming into the shoulders and the back. Twist around, make sure that your gaze follows the same direction. Lovely. Keep wriggling those toes if you need to remind yourself not to grip on. Just pull the kneecaps up slightly, okay? So you're not locking those legs out, but you're nice and secure in your positioning. Good. And around. We're going to do one more on each side. Then we're going to go around. See how far you can come back. Can you get a little bit further? And around. And back to center. Good. Roll the shoulders through if you need to. Okay. From here, we're going to come into our squats. Again, just using our cushion as a guide. So the first one we're going to do is we're just going to hold our cushion out at arm's length. So just at about chest height, okay? You want to give a little bit of a squeeze just so that you've got a good grip, but you don't need to be really trying to get any resistance going. You're going to sink back and we're going to do squats into the count of 4. So we're going to sit back for 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So really trying to come down so that your bottom and your knees are in line if you can, and then up for 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Squeezing those glutes at the top, okay? Good, again. So we're going down. 2, and 3, and 4, as low as you can go, and then up. For 2, and 3, and 4. Good stuff. Keep going. I'm going to turn this way. So we're down. Much harder going slower with these squats than it is just trying to hammer out a load of repetitions. So again, we're just going for control of our movements. Precision, really trying to make a conscious effort and focus in on each muscle that we're using. Up. Good, one more set. So down, 2, 3, and 4, and up, 2, 3, and 4. Good, bring that cushion in. Just give a little shoulder roll, out if you need to. We're going to do another set of squats now, but this time the cushion's coming up overhead, okay? So you're going to bring your arms all the way up overhead. So these biceps should be in line with your ears, okay? That's the positioning that we want. So we're holding up really high. Chest is open as we sit back again for the count of 4. 2, 3, and 4, and up. 2, 3, and 4. Does that feel harder, having those arms extended overhead, than it did having them out front? It's really forcing us to concentrate in on our positioning, okay? Because what I'm not doing is this. I'm not leaning forwards and I'm not pushing my hips back. I'm having to stand up nice and tall. I'm keeping those arms all the way overhead, those arms in line with your ears. 2, 3, and 4. One more of these. So sinking down. Your arms should be feeling definitely tired now. And up. 2, 3, and 4. Bring it down and come into a little shoulder roll. Grab a drink if you want to, okay guys? I'm just going to bring my cushion down onto the floor. So we haven't weighted any movement there, but you definitely feel like you've got that whole chain of muscles working along your shoulders and your back there. So grab a quick drink. We're going to come down onto the floor, okay? Before we come fully onto the mat, I just want to get us warmed up through our lower back. So coming into a couple of shoulder rolls to begin with, or forward rolls, I should say. So just rolling those shoulders down, grazing your hands along your legs. Let the crown of your head lead, and just come down as far as you're comfortable with, okay? Let those arms go heavy. And then we're just going to swing slightly side to side. So you can have bent knees here if you want to, or if you're feeling a little tight, like I'm feeling a little tight through my hamstrings, I'm going to keep them straight because I feel like I'm getting a good stretch. Back to center, rolling up. Slowly, 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 vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way up. Roll those shoulders at the top. One more of these. So rolling the shoulders, crown of your head leading. Keep those abdominals strong as we lay down, sink down, I should say. Arms go heavy. Either just staying like this or adding in that little rock side to side. Good. 2, and 1, rolling back up. You've got it. All the way to the top. And a shoulder roll here. Now next time I want you coming down onto your mat, I'm going to move my screen in a second. You're going to come into a full roll down, all the way down. So bend your knees if you need to bring your hands down to the mat. And then you're just going to walk those hands forwards, sink onto your knees, and come into child's pose, okay? And just stretch out the top of your shoulders there in child's pose as I bring you down this way. I'm going to prop you up like that. So just stretch forwards, lean through, walk those fingertips as far forwards as you can, and enjoy that stretch through the shoulders. Just rearranging my camera. If you need to bring yours down as well, then do. Take the opportunity to grab a drink of water, and then when you're coming up, you're going to push back up onto all fours, and you're going to sink those knees a little bit further back, and we're going to come into this 3/4 plank position, okay? So my hips have come far further forwards than my knees, but I'm going to put my wrists just underneath my hip bones, okay? From here, we're going to have this cushion underneath us, okay? And what we're going to try to attempt to do is bring this cushion side to side without rocking our hips too much, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. So you're going to lift one hand up, you're going to push it through. You're going to replace that hand and you're going to bring it through on the other side. So I'm constantly shifting my weight from side to side, but I'm keeping my hips facing forwards the whole time, and that's the difficulty, okay? So to do this, I really need to tighten up through my core, through my abdominals. Shift the weight, move the cushion. Good. Shift your weight and move your cushion. How's that feeling? It's a funny one, this one, I know, but really you can feel it working in those abdominals, right? So leaning forward, bracing, push the cushion, shift the weight and push the cushion. Good. For any of you who feel stronger in your core and you want to take this into a full plank position, then you can be my guest, but it is tricky, okay? So I don't want anyone toppling. I'd much rather we went from this 3/4 plank, really concentrated on bracing those abdominals as we move and move. So how much are you rocking? It's really hard not to, right? Imagine you've got some headlights on your hip bones and we're trying to keep them shining forwards the whole time. Good. For any point you need to take a break, just come into your child's pose and then reset, recover. Good. We've got a couple more to do. So move and move. Once more each side. Move that cushion and move that cushion. Pop it down to one side. Sit your bottom back down onto your heels. As you come back into that child's pose, there's a little recovery. You can feel it, right? You can definitely feel that one in your core. Okay, swiveling around to sitting up next. Grab hold of your cushion. We're going to use it again just as a little focus as we come into some rollbacks. So if you remember our rollbacks from last week, you've got loads of variation in terms of how far you want to roll back. You're going to extend your cushion out at chest height again, keep those shoulders pulled away from your chest, and we're trying to create that C movement in the base of our spine. So you might just come back to here, hold, and return to center. Or you might be coming back much further, I say, as I bash into my nice new banner. So just coming back as far as you're comfortable with. When you get to the point where you can really feel those abs firing up, just hold for a second and then return. Okay, so just keep your gaze on your cushion as that little focus. It helps our arms not to creep up too high, and keep rolling back. Hold at the point where you can feel that bite in the abdominals and then leaning forwards. Good. So again, some really nice core work here, but also some mobilization through that lumbar spine. So no matter how far you're rocking back, I want you to really think about articulating that movement. So vertebrae by vertebrae. Good. Keep going. Now, some of you will be going much lower than I am. I'm just I'm being conscious of what I've got behind me, but hopefully you've got enough space. Good. 2 more of these. Keep those shoulders drawn down for 1. Good. And 2. And the next one, if you can roll all the way down onto your back, then do. If not, you're going to roll over onto your side and then back. Okay, I'm just going to move my screen one final time, give myself a little bit more space. So you're all the way onto your backs now, okay? You're going to get your cushion and you're going to place it in between your knees. So your knees are bent, we're coming into some bridges. My cushion folds in half, so I've got a little bit of a squishy surface there. We're going to keep it in between our knees as we come up into a bridge, so pushing those hips up, okay? Hold it there, so you're having to squeeze your thighs. Then I want you to see if you can try and imagine that you're trying to get that cushion without moving your shoulders off the floor. So you're leaning, you're really having to brace your abdominals as if you're leaning in to reach it, but you can't quite get it, and hold it here. So that's the amount of tension that I want going on in the core, okay? My shoulders aren't leaving. My shoulders leave in a bridge, I'm going to be on the floor, right? I'm really trying to squeeze in 2 and one, and relax and roll it back down. And just notice the difference between when those stomach muscles are relaxed as you roll down and the tension that you can create when you're up, you're squeezing your thighs and you're trying to reach that cushion. Whew. Good. So again, hold it here. You probably feel it coming into those thigh muscles as well, right? Everything's working hard. 3 and 2, relax. Roll down vertebrae by vertebrae, down onto your mat. We've got 2 more of these to do. So when you're ready, reset, lift up, push those hips up as high as you can, as high as you're comfortable with, okay? And then squeeze your thighs, and then imagine that you're trying to reach that cushion. Squeeze. Good. So keep breathing naturally here. 2 and 1. Relax and roll down. Good stuff. We've got 1 more of these to do. So when you're ready, reset. Peel away, lift those hips. Squeeze those thighs, come up into your bridge first, and then think about reaching. Good. 3, 2, and relax. And roll it all the way back down. You can bring those knees into your chest. You can recover your cushion now. If you want to hug those knees into your chest and have a little rock side to side, then do. Okay, and then when you're ready, just drop 1 foot and then the other foot back down onto your mat. Your cushion is now on your chest, and we're going to push it up as if we were doing a chest push, okay? So we're going to push it up and we're going to hold it directly above our chest. I'm going to give you a couple of different options here. Option number 1, you're keeping 1 foot on the floor and you're bringing the other top foot up so that the knee is above the hip, and you're going to go into single toe taps, but with that opposite foot on the floor for balance, okay? If you're more comfortable with your toe taps, then you're going to bring both feet up off the floor, knees above the hips, and you're going to go into your alternates. Just holding that cushion above your chest height. Good. Focus your gaze on the cushion. Make sure as you come in that your knees aren't coming too close to that cushion. We're just returning to above our hip bone. Remember with these, the further away you tap, the more intense it is on your abdominals. So find, again, that point that works for you. Good. If you need a break at any point, bring those knees back into your chest, have a little recovery and reset. Ladies, if you're on a single leg, you're going to swap over now, okay? If you're alternating, keep on alternating. Keep on just lifting that cushion away. My shoulders are still down to the mat, okay? I'm not coming up into a crunch with these. I'm just keeping those muscles engaged by lifting. Good. Keep it going. Whew, who can feel their abs? This is why I love these ones so much. Real nice controlled movement, but that you know is working. Good, a couple more for 3 and 2 and 1. Bring that cushion down, hug those knees in. How are you feeling? Grab a drink if you want to. We've got 1 more move I want to do before we stretch off, okay? So similar to what we've just done. So take your time, reset, find that neutral spine, back on your mat, okay? Lift your cushion, okay? This time, again, if you want to keep 1 foot on the floor, you can. You're going to bring the knee into that same position that we had as the toe taps, but this time you're going to push your leg away and draw your cushion back and bring it back in. So you're pushing your leg away and bringing your cushion up overhead. Think about your breath work with these. If you want to have both feet off the floor, you're still going to just go alternate legs. In and in, okay? So don't worry if you can't straighten out your leg completely. That's fine. You might just push up to this point. That's fine too. Go with what works for you. And I want you to try and sync your breath work in with this now, okay? So as you push away, exhale. Inhale as you come back in. Exhale and push. Inhale and back in. Good. Remember, you can have a floor on the foot on the floor just for some more stability, and if it feels too intense on your core, then please keep one foot down. If you're doing that one, now's the time to alternate. If you're doing it in alternate already, just keep on going. Keep breathing and pushing. How's that feeling? The abs are working. We've still got that mobility going on in our shoulders. Good, we're almost empty. 4. In. 3. And in. Last set, 1 on each side. Good. And back in. Bring that cushion down to your chest. Hug those knees in. Bring your shoulders up as well. You don't have to have the cushion there, that's actually quite annoying. It depends how big your cushion is. Okay. Good. Squeeze in. Squeeze in. We're going to come into our stretches now, okay? So I want you just rocking yourself back up to sitting or coming onto your side and then around, whichever one works for you. Sitting up, nice and tall, okay? So still trying to lengthen out through your spine. If you need to kind of move the squashy bits of your bottom, to just really sit up tall and do that, okay? Good. Whew. And then from here, we're going to come into some nice shoulder rolls. So I'm really dipping forwards and bringing the backs of my hands together as I come forwards, and then I'm opening out. So it's a really fluid movement, this one. Just bringing that mobility back to where we started with those rotator cuff mobilization moves at the start, lengthening out our arms by releasing our shoulders. This is a nice one to bring back in. Good. Keep going here. So you're hollowing out your tummy, you're really rolling forwards into it, and then you're opening up your chest, squeezing your shoulder blades together as you come back out. Good. Pushing to the side, go down, and I'm out. I'm down, and I'm open. Good. 2, and 1. Open up. You're going to bring both knees around. So both feet come onto one side. One knee's facing forwards, one's going off to the side slightly. Okay, you're going to put this hand down on the floor and you're going to reach over as far as you can, and then you're immediately going to come onto the other side. So you're going to find the hand that comes down to the floor, you can probably come quite far down on. As you come across the other way, it's going to feel a little bit harder. But it's that lovely stretch through the rib cage, through the waist. Good, a really lovely fluid. I always think this one's like a mermaid sat on the rocks. So that's what I want you channeling in your mermaid vibe. Beautiful. Good. We're going to do one more on this side. So you're reaching, and then you're reaching. You're going to swivel your knees to the opposite side, okay? Good, again, trying to lengthen up. You're coming down, and you're reaching across. Good. You're down, and you'll reach. Now it might feel like you've got definitely more movement on one side than the other. Remember, I always say this, but it's true. Completely normal. Good. Reach. Oh, how good does this feel? We're going to do 2 more. So this is 1 and 1, 2 and 2, and spinning back around to sitting, however's comfortable, okay? I go cross-legged, but some of you might prefer to have your legs out straight or out to the side, whatever works for you. I want you to just relax your hands down on your knees, look down towards your mat, and then take a nice deep breath in and out. Good. So your chin is down. If you want to close your eyes here, then you can. Just let your arms go really heavy. Think about dropping those shoulders away from your ears. And then keep your shoulders pulled down as you bring your gaze up towards the ceiling. Good. So again, just continue with your relaxing breaths. Feel how good that stretch feels through the front of your neck. Push those shoulders down. Good. Bring your gaze back to center. We're just going to come into some neck rolls to finish off. You're going to roll your neck around all the way, nice and slowly, in one direction. Good. And then coming around in the opposite direction when you've done that full rotation. Oh, lovely. Good. Let's do one more on each side. So coming around, all the way around. Back down to center. And then last one. Rolling, rolling, rolling. All the way. Chin down to your chest. And then in your own time, when you're ready, just bringing your gaze back up, loosening your hands out, just rechecking how you're feeling. How do you feel now compared to how you felt at the start of the session? Do you feel like you've brought any tension down? Do you feel like you've worked those abs? Because I certainly do. If you're doing it on replay, as always, let me know how you got on, because I always want to hear what you enjoyed, what you found difficult, what were your best bits. And I will see you all tomorrow for circuits, for those of you joining circuits, if not Pilates again next week. Nice job, everybody.